Oh, it's right there. Oh, she- yeah.
You're the next chair.
Chair in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll go this way.
We have everything ready, by the way.
I received it, yeah.
Hi.
All right. Hi.
Well, this is great. Thank you. Hi, good to see you. Sunny weather out. Oh my God, yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Like 80 degrees on Tuesday and snowing today.
Very confusing.
Brendan, did you say we're ready?
Yep, we're ready.
Alright, okay. Welcome to the March 2026 meeting of the Health and Education Meeting. My name is Rebecca Todd and I am the chair of the committee. Tonight, we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Burke. This meeting is called to order at 6:32 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. Today, Kate will be taking the minutes for the meeting. Thank you, Kate. We will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Okay, committee members, I will call your name. Your name is called, please say present. I'll announce if there is quorum. Kyle Thai. I do not see. Marty Barrett is excused. Elvie Barroso,
Present.
Liz Burr,
Present.
Stu Dusser,
Still here.
Rod Friedman,
Here.
Gloria Haig,
Present.
Rabia Iqbal. I do not see. Rupal Kakad,
Present.
Kate Kennedy,
Present.
Katie Landa is excused. Kevin O'Keefe,
Present, and happy birthday to Marty if he ever listens to this.
yes indeed. Mubin Siddiqui
Present.
and Kat Valero.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, so the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from the February 12th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hands. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the February 12th meeting were adopted. They will soon be available on the CB6 website. Some ground rules. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have questions about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. So, I just want to say thank you to Councilmember Maloney for coming here. You were here for our board meeting last night for full board. You're here 2 days in a row. You've come to so many meetings, so thank you and we really appreciate it. So, so you were here
This is
today.
easy because our office is a few floors down.
Very quick commute for you. So tonight, Councilmember Maloney is here to discuss the city retirees health plan. City Council Intro 1096 that was introduced last year. It didn't pass as far as of earlier today, I think I checked. It had not been reintroduced. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Is there any plans of reintroducing it? It was Chris Marte's bill, right? Does he
Yes.
plan on reintroducing it or?
I
not yet?
haven't heard yet, but I did text him asking.
Okay, all right. We're gonna hope that he does.
Mhm.
We're gonna proceed as assuming that he does. So the city retirees healthcare plan. Basically earlier in the year, I think it was either December or January, a couple of months ago, there was a report from the comptroller's office basically saying that there's not enough funds and they recommended insolvency. Just a little bit of background information. The funds in there were used to pay like supplemental benefits, workers' raises. The de Blasio administration used it to settle some union contracts that had expired under the Bloomberg administration. So basically, the funds are just used for all sorts of things. And essentially, the money is now gone. So, the previous administration, I believe the Adams administrations tried to move the healthcare to Medicare Advantage and other things, which obviously the city retirees have opposed. And that's kind of where we are as far as what to do. So I'm gonna hand it over to you for whatever you want to share about that.
Sure. Thank you for having me again. And thank you, Rupal, for making this meeting possible. Yeah, this is an issue that I've been closely following for the past year at least. The promise of a certain set of healthcare benefits and then taking them away is unacceptable, unconscionable, and not something that I support at all. The retirees that worked for years are to then be offered or switched to what I call Medicare Disadvantage, which is a very different program and certainly not the same standards that they were promised, is an unacceptable way to dig yourself out of a budget hole. And I've been encouraged by the Mondami administration, who has been clear that he is not going, or the administration is not going to move forward with that switch. So that's been very encouraging. And in our preliminary budget hearings, we saw an increase in spending to ensure that that fund is in fact solvent. So that has all been encouraging. I have not heard yet whether or not Intro 1096, which is the former version of the bill, will be introduced. I have heard inklings that it might be revised or reconsidered to look a bit different from the one that the last council voted on. As most of you in this room know, I'm a new council member, so I did not actually vote on that bill. But should a new version of it come to or be reintroduced in the council, I would definitely want to see how that bill is structured. I think fundamentally disagree with the idea that you should, as I said in the beginning, promise healthcare A and then switch someone to healthcare B, particularly when people are operating on fixed incomes and making assumptions about what their costs are going to be. You structure your life around certain expectations and assumptions, and then to shift that is very unfair and should not happen. The tactics, I guess, right now, it seems the administration is trying to solve this through the budget process and address the gap and ensure that this change does not happen by ensuring we have enough funding. And our preliminary, I'm on the finance committee, so our preliminary hearing was either yesterday or 2 days ago, it all blurs together. But our preliminary budget hearing was with, I guess it was yesterday, with Mark Levine, the comptroller, talked about this issue in that meeting. It's definitely one of the expenses on the budget, but it should not be the scapegoat. I think that we need to be looking at efficiencies in government, in New York City government, and addressing the expense problem in other ways. So all to say, I'm encouraged by how the budget processes are going. I think that the imminent pressure that was felt in the prior administration, thankfully, the tone has shifted here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I'm here to just answer questions and have it be more of a conversation, yeah.
So is it like, has the tone or the suggestions shifted that the fund may no longer be insolvent? Or like, have you heard anything about, because the report was pretty grim, but that's it, it's done, there's no way to save it. So has that thought changed?
My understanding is that money was put in the budget,
Oh,
in
okay.
this budget, but I will have to get back to you and confirm that. I don't know the specifics about how
Okay.
much is in exactly that fund.
Yeah, no, not the specific amount,
Yeah.
but like has just the thought of it being insolvent versus not. Like, a few months ago, it was just like, there's just no way to save it.
My
So,
chief of staff is also here, so I'm gonna invite him to the table as well.
yeah, come on over, bring a chair over.
Don't be,
I'll
we'll
move-
see here for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, or, yeah. Yeah, so I wasn't sure if that, idea or
can't-
that thought had like shifted with the new finances and everything.
I can't speak specifically to that question. I just know that the administration has been clear that there is various solutions to a problem,
Mhm.
and no one thinks this is a good solution to
Okay.
that problem.
So, so I just have a quick question. I don't know if it's any bearing on it, but the recent Moody's downgrade, is that going to impact any of these allocations across different categories in any way?
Well, I gotta say, from being in that hearing, it does paint a pretty grim picture of, where we are, financially. And I thought Mark Levine's testimony was very straightforward, and actually in the middle of the testimony, he said, "Right, we just got this Moody's downgrade." And shared that in the council hearing to the council members who were in the audience. So I think it paints a picture of how serious the budget concerns are. And, there's a variety of conversations that are happening, some of them on the revenue side. I'm sure many people have heard about the property tax idea, which I'm strongly opposed to. I think it's yet another tax on, and in the testimony, they talked about how often the property owner passes that on to renters. And in an environment where affordability is top of the conversation, that isn't the right solution either. So we talked a lot about how so I guess my 3 points, or takeaways from this was that, first, adding yet another expense on the cost of living in New York when we already are facing the average cost of a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan is $5,000. Increasing a 10% increase is just untenable. So I agreed, and the comptroller had stated something similar. So I agreed on that. The second point was that the city sends a large percent of money, I think it's 54%, and I guess you are quoting me on this, but I don't have all my notes in front of me. But it was something like 54% of taxes come from New York City, but we only get about 40% back. So that disparity is something that I think we should just continue as a city council to advocate for with our state partners and with the governor. And a large part of the costs in the budget are unfunded state mandates. So you have the state legislators placing good ideas, one of them being, one of the line items that stuck out was classrooms. And we know that smaller classrooms leads to better education outcomes, but the cost to hire all those additional teachers was multiple millions over, again, I don't have my notes in front of me, but was a large percentage of the budget. And that is a state mandate that doesn't come with the financial support to action it. So there's plenty of examples like that where I think that's a solution is, just sort of continue to push for the state to help recognize that New York City is a major economic driver for the entire state and help us out with some of these funding gaps. So those were some of the takeaways from it. I had another one, but yeah.
Did you have a question, Lori?
My concern about filling certain coffers that are actually supposed to give back to the community, they often get raided.
Mm.
So I'm just wondering if that coffer hopefully can be refilled. How does anyone protect against certain mayors or administrations taking money this is true with Social Security too, right? Using
Yeah.
it for something it's not intended for. Like, how do
Very
you
good
even
point.
protect against any of that?
In the preliminary budget that we were reviewing yesterday, the way that the administration balanced the budget is by pulling from the rainy day fund as an example, which is intended for emergency use case. So you'd be drawing down on the rainy day fund with the hopes that we'll be able to refill it in the near future. And it was pointed out that there's so much economic uncertainty, and so how can you bank on, oh, we'll be able to refill it later. So the point of the council or others trying to set clearer definitions of what an emergency is, that you're able to raid the rainy day fund. And to your point, if money is allocated for a particular use case, like Social Security or this retiree benefits not being able, that's a very good point. So I don't have a good answer right now, but I'll come back to think about what we could do with the rainy day fund. I did think that coming up with a clear definition of what emergency means. If the economy is booming, which it is right now, in New York, like we've had a very good year. So does that qualify emergency? Like it's meant for true periods where of economic downturn. So I thought that was a valid point of reframing what you use it for when you can tap into those emergency funds.
Yeah, if I could just pivot to the city retirees insurance.
Yeah, I know, we got sidetracked, but they are intertwined because
Yes,
it really
of
is a
course.
budget issue.
No harm meant to this group. A couple of things. I think there should be a public hearing before there's any sort of real discussion about that. I think it's a big enough issue. And I hope that's on the radar, is to really have a true public hearing to get everybody and there's thousands that want to talk about this. The original bill had language that said that their option could go to Medicare Disadvantage. Thank you for that, Stan. Is that still the feeling that any new language would also have that alternative, or just stay with original Medicare for the retirees, but no option?
So I haven't seen what the new bill would look like. I don't think it's been drafted. I don't think it's even gone through first in time yet. So I don't know what that language would be. And as I said before, eager to see what the language people land, what the legislators and the council member, probably Marte, land on. And I imagine there would be a public hearing. That would probably be one of the first steps, is after you draft the language and introduce the bill, have a public hearing where I know there are a lot of people with very strong opinions about how this should be handled. Would be best.
Thank you. Are you seeing a shift? I know UFT, for example, was for Medicare, but then they were against it. So are more unions? Because I think that's the big holdup, is a lot of unions tend to be for it because it will help those that are currently working. But is there a shift or?
The biggest shift I have felt is that the imminency doesn't feel as like critical, I suppose, if that's the right word, where now we have the Mamdani administration supporting. So there's this a little bit of the pressure valve that we felt in December of last year, where this was really something that was right around the corner. I have not had conversations with labor specifically on this. I think once the actual intro XYZ, because the number will change. Once there is this new bill, I'm sure those conversations will kick off. But have you had any conversations with
No,
labor?
and I mean, I think that the other thing is in terms of like the timeline on intro, this will likely be Marte, and before a bill is introduced, there's usually conversations trying to get buy-in and trying to get other offices, and that process hasn't kicked off yet.
So we're looking at probably a few months, right? Yeah.
We're in agreement though on a public hearing? Is that a affirmative? I think it sounds.
Yeah,
like
I think it would go through, I don't know what committee this went through last time. Is it health?
I could find out.
Yeah. So it would go through
Right, understood.
someone
You
else's
would be
committee
From
probably.
the outside, you would be.
I'd be there and asking questions. Unless I'm in one of my other 8 hearing committees.
And I think that when, Virginia said that the urgency is, I think, like on a broad level, the urgency is still there, but on the kind of micro level, which allows for working to try and get a bill that can get broad buy-in and
Actually pass.
yeah, and is not gonna come up against the same roadblocks that it did in the last council. So I think that there's a real effort being underway, and I think that, you know, there are advocate groups that I'm sure some of you are familiar with that are in discussions and working to try and tweak the language a little bit to make this something that is, you know, discussions about language being inputted potentially that make it clear that this is not something that affects collective bargaining rights more generally, and workshopping it to try and get something that can be have a broad level of support.
Well, that's the balance, right? We believe in collective bargaining in the union
Yeah.
way, but on the other hand, you know, the retirees are no longer working, so they're not dues paying members, so it's really.
Well, and also, I mean, I think the way that the state has defined a labor union is something that by definition represents employees. So by like legally, the retirees
Right.
become no longer
Mhm.
members of a union.
Oh.
So the state has made it clear on a legal level, the union is not representing retirees. So there needs to be a way to, you know, protect retirees.
Mhm.
As you know, there are plenty of workers who say, retirees who say, yeah, this is good, potentially Medicare Advantage for those that are still working because they're still pretty healthy. And if you're healthy and retired, even a little bit sick, it might be good, but it's not for those that are really, really sick, I
Mhm.
believe, because they don't have as big a network to pull from
Right.
of doctors. 95% if you're in Medicare, but it's nowhere near that if you're in Medicare Advantage.
Yeah. Barack, and then,
Right now, it kind of just seems like there's two insurance plans. You're going from this insurance to that insurance plan. Could you give like a few just very specific things of what's being lost? Why should we be upset about it? If you're just very specific things, if I get lung cancer, then I need chemotherapy. What happens in this plan versus that plan? Like, why are we getting so upset about it? I'm just asking for my own ignorance.
Well, if you read the original bill, the specific thing is the access to choice of doctors, different types of care.
But like a very specific,
pre-authorizations was one of the things that was
Pre-authorization,
mentioned in
correct.
that original bill.
Um,
Like the care can be delayed because one plan is very much into like you have to get pre-authorization, you have to get pre-authorization while you're waiting and waiting and waiting. Care can be delayed, and that is one of the things, whereas with the current plan, that's not.
you don't need pre-authorization.
So one of the original,
Current plan.
yeah, so the care is faster or something like that, or like they can get the care that they need without like delays.
Or if you're with one doctor and then you switch, hey, I'll try this Medicare Advantage, and then you can't get the same doctor
So,
potentially. But
and
it's also fraud. I think we could bring that back. There was what, $88 billion in 2024 that the federal government found because of upcoding. That's something you don't see in Medicare. So that's making sure that they can get more money by reclassifying the illness to something more expensive. So that's a big difference.
I guess I would suggest that we read both policies. I know that might sound boring, but that's what I do when I have my choice of policies and actually read them.
Brendan, we have the text for 1096.
But you
But
can
read the policies.
But you could also, they could switch. Medicare Advantage can switch without you knowing it. 2 years in, they'll say, okay, we've redefined.
Yeah.
You
So
don't have that risk.
That's the
Okay.
text for the original 1096.
Yeah, I'm about to share it on screen for those at home.
It's really, the difference is managed care to choice care.
Mhm.
They're telling you with the Medicare Advantage, this is the small little places, this is where you can go. When it's not that, when it's Medicare and even supplement, you can go, like you're saying, you've got like 95% of.
I'm saying we should see it in writing. It's one thing to just know about it on the table.
Age myself,
We should see-
I've been researching
But we
it
should-
because that day's coming.
We should, if we're gonna pass a resolution.
Oh,
we should-
I don't
Oh,
think,
no,
not until the new bill is.
Yeah,
right.
Until
But we
the
should-
text
we
is
should
done,
have-
there's no way we
It's good to have.
can.
We should have it in writing.
Yeah.
but to be fair, we did have a coalition of folks looking over there, that did give specifics from a couple of meetings ago. And I'm
I'm
sure that we
thinking
could
if we're
find-
deciding between two insurance plans, and you're gonna say, I like that insurance plan better than that insurance plan, we should read it.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna read it,
Yeah.
The fundamental
Yeah, the
I think
difference,
that's
was-
pretty,
the
I-
fundamental difference between the two plans
Yeah.
is one plan is something where when you're looking for care, decisions are made between the patient and the doctor. Whereas the other option, that Medicare Advantage, is now your insurance company is the one making the decisions on when you get care, who can see it, and what
Qualifying
requirements have you
factors.
fulfilled before then. So that's fundamentally the difference. It's like now your insurer is driving the decision, whereas it didn't before.
I'm not disputing that, just saying we should have it in writing of the two insurance plans. I think that's pretty basic to,
Yeah.
before you decide that one policy is better, is to have everything in writing. At least that's how I do things.
Yeah, and it's also an ideology position too, because you have, I think it's one case we could really say it's people over profit. I mean, the private companies have to answer to the shareholders. It's that simple. That's something that Medicare does not have. So that's why it can change. We don't know what the future is. And are we comfortable with that privatization as a course of action? Forget about going through all the plans. Are you okay with that?
But as far as resolution goes, we wouldn't be writing it until, probably at least for a few months, at least not until, the new text is out for us to read. Like, I would not feel comfortable myself suggesting we write or support a resolution without knowing what's been changed from what's on the screen right now.
I guess it's more about targeted to both of you, because you were talking about the macro micro process of getting a bill on the floor. I'm just curious, since some of the sponsors of the previous bill are no longer, or have bumped up like Powers or something, like, what is your overall observation? I know you're fairly new in your position of folks
Feels like
that
2 years.
I'm sure. The priority scale. Like, would this be, for example, would this be within the top 3 priorities? When you talked about affordability, I know that like housing is a big one. And we've talked about transportation, everything is interconnected to the budget, but I'm just curious, based on your general understanding, being on the finance committee and having that vantage point, can you gauge like how much of a priority this would be?
For the council or?
Yeah.
For the council. So. How do I answer that question? I guess the process is you submit your bill idea. So in this case, a reintroduction, sounds like they're going through editing right now to try to figure out what the right resolution would look like. You then get first in time. So if 2 people are both of the same bill idea, you have to kind of negotiate that. And then it's up to the individual council member to try to galvanize support around it. So you do the public hearing and, it's, I think that the concept of priority, I think of it as more as like when a bill has got a lot of energy and attention in council members that are supporting it can then go to the floor and pass, hopefully. So every bill that has gone to the floor in the council since I've been there at least has passed. So, it's a sense of getting enough support to actually enact the change. I think that most council members I've spoken to, and including the speaker, agree that the proposal to shift, as we were just discussing, the negative impacts of moving from a healthcare plan that you were planning on and this other one, and the biggest, that I thought was a great description of losing the ability to make the decision, but also the providers, is my understanding. It's a much more narrow list of providers. So if you have a medical issue and you're going to a doctor and you're halfway through your care, and then to have to shift through that or to have to pay out of pocket for that. And, that as we talked about at this table, is not an appropriate path and not a path anyone wants to see. So I'd say it's a high priority to ensure that doesn't happen. Again, it's like the how is the question, and what the bill looks like versus other tactics that the council can use and that the administration can use to get to the same outcome, which is protecting the retirees.
Any other questions?
I think there's like thousands of bills that have been introduced. At least I've been there.
Hi, Betty Dalen, retired school social worker, municipal retiring. What happened last time with this bill was that in terms of the process, it couldn't get out of committee. It was stuck in committee because Adrian Adams really didn't want it to get out of committee. So it never got to a hearing, any hearing.
Hmm.
We're stuck there. That's all. So things don't
Right.
necessarily get to a hearing, is what I'm saying.
And do you know which committee it was out of?
I think it was-
The health? Probably health,
The-
right?
Civil service and
Oh,
labor.
civil service and labor, right, I think it was Carmen De La Rosa.
That
Click on that.
That's now, Shirley.
And,
Medical.
By, I mean,
So those are the people to talk to.
Yeah, these are the people to talk to.
Mhm.
and our speaker was not on.
Starting with
Julie, you're-
Shirley,
you're
who's
talking
one
about
of
Julie Menon.
Shirley Albadal is also a freshman council member.
Frank and Morano, I think, is supportive.
Okay. I did not know that. Thanks for sharing that it was.
It just never got.
The committee.
We had,
hearing in the Civil Service and Labor Committee,
Correct.
but that then not enough council members supported it, so it never got up.
So it just didn't get enough support in the committee itself to pass.
Well, it
To
didn't
get
have
moved.
the,
Okay.
in the council
Oh,
to
okay.
get there, and she said, Ms. Adams was not.
Yeah.
bad.
So it did get a hearing within the committee, right?
I don't know.
In the labor committee.
So that's
It was-
usually
I
how
spent-
the hearings
I
go
was
is,
having an oral surgery, and I was watching it.
oh, wow.
Oh,
As far as I know, that's the only forum for committees is each, or for hearings is within each committee.
so that says it was referred to the committee by council.
And it looks like there was never a hearing.
Oh, so there was never a hearing.
Never.
Yeah, if there were a hearing, it would indicate
Never
as,
council clerk.
Right.
so there was not a council hearing.
Mhm. That was the big frustration first.
Brendan, are there any questions online or anything?
Not currently.
All right. So anybody else have any questions? So, all right, so as of now, like I said, unless there's new text, I don't think we wanna write a resolution unless you all disagree with me, but I don't think it makes sense. Yeah.
Can I just add a little, I'm sorry, I don't know this gentleman's name, when we were talking about.
Right, yeah.
Thank you. And I think it's important to understand that right this minute, as a retiree, I can choose regular Medicare, or I can choose any number of other plans that get the same benefits. There, some of them are Medicare Advantage plans, AC 37 runs a health plan. Everybody on God's green earth seems to run a health plan. So it's not as if we would be taking away your ability to go to Aetna or United Healthcare or this or that one. It's only guaranteeing that the traditional Medicare would remain for retirees and future retirees. It doesn't stop the unions in the city from negotiating, with United Healthcare, as you say, and then you check the doctors in United Healthcare and you compare it to what you have in traditional Medicare, and then you get to decide. It's not the city saying the plan is currently not to say you must have this one, but it was,
You have a choice of
Previous
different
one.
plans.
well, the previous one was you will.
Right.
The choice of different Medigap. Or Medicare Advantage.
There's just more choice, more different options.
Yeah.
It's
So as you
before-
said,
Whereas before,
You
So we can't really read a policy because there's many different
You can't read
policies.
a copy, but you can certainly always check if your doctor's in it. And then if it's Medicare Advantage, you go, I hope he stays for a long time.
but the previous, proposal was to take away choice. It was only going to be Medicare Advantage.
Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. That's helpful explanation.
And Brock, the state has our back because I guess one of 4 states that you can switch from Medicare Advantage without any penalty, which is huge. So there was, right, am I?
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
there's
getting
only
some
like
nods.
6 states that you can
Right.
do that, yeah.
Well, that's, which is good. Do you have to wait for the enrollment period, or you can do it anytime?
No answer to that question. Probably have
I
to
don't-
wait, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, so, unless anybody else has any other questions, I just wanna say thank you so much for coming in person and answering all these questions, and that too 2 days in a row, so.
What meeting is tomorrow?
You set a precedent, so you're.
You I standard for all the other electeds at this point. Yeah.
I like a perfect record,
Yeah.
but I gotta, yeah, now I gotta be 4 for 4.
Yeah.
But I also want to thank the retirees, because the experts on this issue, and to your question earlier about how to get a clear picture on this, I would ask a retiree who is really knows this issue through and through. So thank you for your advocacy, and I'm also grateful that, yeah, the courts have been on your side for the most part, and I think that is usually the right side of justice. So hopefully this issue will get resolved. So yes, our office will be in touch if we hear anything on intro 1096. Marte confirmed that it's in that first in time period, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome, but if you hear anything else, please let us know.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
See you guys soon. And don't forget about St. Patrick's Day.
And again, thank you, Betty, Jane, and Carolyn, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you again for coming in January and again this time.
Hearing it and listening us be here today. We appreciate your interest as concern for us. We don't feel as alone.
You
are not
Yeah.
And feel free to call anytime.
If you have any questions, you might just get an email or something from us. Yeah.
For spending time with our office.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Congratulations.
Moving on
Always love you
to
too.
our
Yeah, a lot to work on.
agenda item number 2. So district needs. So Gloria and I worked on putting together blurbs. So I hope everybody had a chance to look through it.
I sent it, you asked me for.
No, it was a little last minute, but it's.
So, just a moment, just so that way.
Can't ask for stuff.
So, what was that, Brendan? Yeah. Oh, okay.
So great idea, you can put it in. And we'll ask. Sorry, that bill. And for context, we put,
So this is what I sent to the committee.
So they come back and they say, sorry.
I would move the task.
So I just wanted to set expectations. It's not guaranteed. We get the bill. That's all. We said in my recap, and I did.
I think we're fine.
Okay. All right, Liz.
The only thing I had commentary on was, we were talking about the shelter, and the shelter is not there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because when we wrote it, that was not the case. Yeah. That is a good catch, yeah.
Good catch.
Great, thanks for letting me know.
Homelessness.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Portion.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that no longer.
It's more like a question mark,
Yeah.
like we still don't really know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. Just know it's closing ASAP.
Yes.
So one thing I can do, rather than, I mean, this case, certainly Sigrid.
Because we have.
I'll try and speak up. So the committee could certainly try and revise this live. But it might also be good just for me to put a note here, just to indicate that this is to be edited due to
The reason development, yeah,
due to the situation,
okay,
the shelter.
all right.
So I'll add a comment there. Just-
I'd be happy to help with that.
So when do we need to have that revised or?
What's the timeline for the revision?
So I would say by June because the Budget and Governmental
yeah.
Affairs Committee meets September, October to work on budget requests and district need stuff, so.
So how about if that's our deadline, can we maybe say, let's do it in May so we can discuss it?
Yeah.
And if there's any
do that.
other, yeah, so let's say May,
Yeah,
all right.
that makes sense, that makes sense. Hopefully by May, we'll have a clearer picture of what's going on. It seems like right now, there's a little
Yeah, exactly.
uncertainty.
Yeah, and if, let's say in May, we still don't have a clearer picture, then we still have a little bit, we still have June to kind of figure out what we wanna do
I
and think
think-
about it.
So I'm looking at the handbook that we drafted in the budget committee, and it was that the committee's draft of the need statement needs to be in by May 31st.
Oh, okay. So then that cannot be June and
Thank you
then,
for correcting.
thank you for looking that up.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the ideal. like,
Yeah,
ceremony,
so
like
then,
that.
let's say by next month, because if that has to be done by end of May, and I don't know if we meet before or after budget in May.
After budget in May.
Okay, so just to make it easier on.
Well, I mean, I think it's due May 31st.
Oh, it's due May 31st,
So that then
okay.
there's plenty of time to read
Okay.
and review, so you have till then,
So,
you have a lot of
so yeah,
time.
maybe the thing to do
We
is.
just reflect on it for a few minutes
Yeah,
and see what kind of solutions we would have.
and, oh, Stu, in the meantime, let's let Stu speak.
I just had a question about a different part of this. It says that expanding treatment and prevention services for New Yorkers could lead to meaningful improvements in affordable housing. I don't understand that, and I think it should be clarified. I'm not clear what's being said.
So this is in the section for mental health. The most important issue being mental health,
Okay.
expanding on why that's the most important issue.
I think what it's saying is the intervention of treatment offers resources normally to other things that folks need. I know they do that at NYU when people come in for treatment. But maybe it needs to be clearer. This first paragraph came from everybody's input.
Could tell. right?
Everybody.
I could tell that.
They're all in, it's all in there. So. If we need to, I mean,
So, bl-
wrote that. Does anyone who wrote want to comment on what they were referring to for Stu's benefit? It wasn't me.
Does anyone remember what they were?
I don't even.
I don't think it's for my benefit. I think if it's not clear to me, then somebody should be able to explain what it means.
Yeah.
And
I think
if you can't explain it, then it should just be rewritten. I'm sure it means something, but I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just see.
I think
In
this came
stable
from-
housing instead of affordable housing, stable housing? As in like, they can consistently, if they get that intervention, they can keep a job, they have a steady income,
I
they
think
have a
that makes
steady
sense.
place to.
Stable.
Stable as opposed to in and out of shelters or in and out of homes,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah,
Does that clarify it a little bit?
this came out of a report.
I mean, the whole sentence though is,
I think it just
Um,
maybe needs something at the end for, after environmental, right? Like, it's not necessarily for all New Yorkers. Like, some of those things would benefit all New Yorkers, but some of those would really mostly benefit the people who are struggling.
But it also says could lead
could
to.
lead, yeah.
Right, could is doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
I,
Could is a
I
lot
think,
of-
I think what you're saying is that, treating mental health, may reduce certain people's homeless, situation.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brendan.
Or perhaps a more concise way to put it is expanding treatment and prevention services could lead to meaningful improvements in a person's quality of life. So
Yeah,
all these things, stable housing, senior support, chronic disease, those are all relate to a person's quality of life.
yeah, I like that. What do you think, Stu?
I didn't make it, but when Brendan types it, I'll know what he said. Oh, that's just fine.
Less is more.
Why say in 50, what can be said in 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Brevity is a good thing.
All right, going back to that shelter. All right, when is our meeting in May?
May 14th.
All right, so we can wait until May because right now there's a lot of uncertainty around that shelter anyway. I don't know if we're gonna get any answers honestly in a month. Government moves slow. So I would say, yeah, let's revisit that portion of it in May after hearing what happens or hopefully we'll have more details on the shelter.
I'm wondering how the shelter that's gonna be opening up on East 61st Street is affecting what's going on with that shelter.
Yeah.
Well, the 30th Street shelter, they're all going to the East Village as far as transition.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Where, do you know where?
The Bowery and I think it's 333 Bowery and then a block away. They have existing facilities there.
But just so I understand, why is this, I mean, I recognize the interrelationship between mental health and homelessness, but shouldn't this be in the housing and homeless committee's section and not health?
So, the draft that we had that was sent by the office, didn't just have the main blurb, but then it had a lot of smaller sections. And this was one of them. So that's why, but unless Brendan has any more information.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, basically what Rupal said, for whatever reason, with the healthcare and human services portion of the statement of district needs, one of the things that the board could comment on is needs for homeless New Yorkers, so that's how it ended up here. But I definitely do see what you're asking to. Also, I wanted, unrelated to answering that question, in terms of where, people at the 30th Street shelter being relocated, men's single adult intake will be located at 8 East 3rd Street. An adult family intake will be at 333 Bowery. So,
The Kenton Hall, I think, is the name of that facility, which has been used for those services already.
gotcha. But yes.
All right, so making a note on that, the rest of it. Any other comments? Are we good to go on this?
There's a small typo.
Where?
That's why I said I don't mind helping with editing. At the bottom, it says CD as in dog 6, not CB. No, keep going.
I-
Right there.
Yeah, CD6. Good
Oh.
catch.
Where is this?
Wait, could it be community district?
Yeah, but I
Community district.
thought the draft itself had CD6, unless I'm mistaken.
It's community district.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Right, but if we're gonna do CD, then all of them should be CD.
So I
To
was
be
trying to
consistent.
think what the draft itself had.
so there are
Everything
5
else, yeah.
mentions of CB6
But
and only one of.
what's, in what?
No, in the
what
draft that
context?
you sent us, the original one, what does it say with all the original one that you sent us like long ago?
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one. I think it's, but it's, yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
says
has
CD6.
Yeah.
So it should all be CD6,
yeah.
not CB6. Yeah.
It's referring to the district.
Yeah, that's what you've been saying, yeah.
Yeah,
So then it should all be CD and not CB.
yeah, we should then make sure to spell it out the
Yeah.
first time we use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You don't
agree.
live in a board, right? You live in a district? Is
Yeah.
that the feeling? Right?
There's no difference in boundaries, right? It's the same thing.
It is, but that's why there's two different.
No, just making sure that.
It's just that.
But there's gonna be like.
Between community board and community
It's
district.
CD6.
Yeah.
That's CD6.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn similar.
Yeah.
But I.
But
you're probably right, like for
For
school
us,
districting,
there's-
sometimes
it's
the
very
lines are
different
different than for other
any
purposes.
Who did we go over that one? I don't even remember. We went over the map, oh, with NYU, when they were doing population health.
No, but they were using a bunch of different maps.
No, they were using District 6,
Yeah, but
and it was a little bit different from CB6, but not by any great.
So this is the way to think of it.
CD6. Okay.
We are Manhattan Community Board 6.
Right.
Anyone who lives in Manhattan Community District 6 is eligible to serve on Manhattan Community Board 6.
yeah.
This is more.
Well, unless you're under 16 years old.
No, I'm pretty sure they were using different maps and, they just kept using the terms, but they were, when they were combining it.
Calling it that.
Yeah, yeah, that was my understanding.
So I think that was, those were like all districts or something or
Yeah.
other.
Yeah,
Whose boundaries, at least in our case, are similar to Manhattan Community District 6, but aren't quite the
Right,
same.
right.
Like there are some small,
But it's very small,
but it's very similar.
nothing
To
that.
make that global
Yeah.
change.
This is how you maintain job security.
alright,
But under population, how we say, community district.
District.
Makes sense.
Population health person here.
yeah. Alright, anything else? Or aside from that homeless shelter, the rest of it, are we all good to go? Any
Sorry.
objection?
Question, what's the purpose of this document?
Brendan can answer that question.
So, we have, every year, we submit to the city the budget request and statement of district needs. This is part of the statement of district needs portion. There's a statement of district needs section for healthcare and human services, which we're discussing right now. There's one for transportation, there's one for land use, and so on and so forth. So, like, what we're working on here will be part of what we submit to the city later this year for the budget request and statement of district needs.
Is what we think are the top needs for CD6,
Yes,
and to recommend to the city for
exactly,
budget allocation.
exactly.
Alright,
Thank you.
so, if we're all agreed on this, let's move on. Alright, so Brendan, do we have to then do the education, youth services, all of that as well, or?
Yes, yes, we do it.
Okay, so,
Another, so it's a good thing that the committee has worked so far ahead on the health portion. Because now that the committee has merged, now that this committee is merged with youth and education, there's also an education portion.
I mean, Katie can speak to it, but
Yeah,
we
so-
started it.
okay, so then I say, let's discuss that at next meeting. Hopefully Katie will be able to join us, and then we can have Katie kind of lead that discussion or lead that project, if I wanna call it that. So let's do that for April,
Sounds good.
all right?
But just to flag, the way that we did it with this one, just for context, as Brooke, thanks for the repeat, we started in December.
Okay,
Talking about what did we want to have our top priority. Stu, can you hear me? I'll project. What we wanted our top priority for health and environment before the merge.
mhm,
That took 2 months. And then we merged. So if we want to follow and replicate the same process, but we have May 31st as the deadline.
yeah, May 31st.
We might need to
We might wanna
expedite
start now.
and even use this meeting as like, what are some of the, if you can allow, because Katie's not here. What are any of the topics of priority for youth and education, if we already know that? Or what it was last year, because I think that's also what we started with, was like looking at last year's statement of district need, is that correct?
Mhm,
And then going from there.
okay,
Because there's a whole list of, based on different sections of the district need statement that
Okay.
could be applicable.
okay.
But I'm afraid that
Oh, we don't
like,
have
we're
the
up against
timeline,
like
we're up
a
against that
shorter
May
timeline, and I
you're right.
want to give enough
That's true, you're
for
good
that.
catch on that. So then, how about this, can we kinda? Yeah,
Is there, I mean, I don't know how this works, but is there a way that we can just do this on email? Like Katie has a draft,
okay,
Well,
so
we
she
did, we
could
did.
share it.
Yeah, I mean, what I can do, I can send an email to the committee tomorrow
Mhm.
with, you know, that draft resolution for the education portion. You all can have the assignment to like pick the most important issue and why. So that way we can come to April's meeting prepared to hash out which issue is most important
yeah,
and why.
and
And
then,
then have the narrative portion on that ready for May.
yeah, I think that worked,
It works, we just need to make sure to really do our homework.
yeah. Alright, so let's do it with that. Let's do it that way, alright. And then anything else for district needs or all good on that front? Alright. CARES report, I'm gonna sound like a broken record until March 27th, health fair. Health fair, March 27th, 11 AM to 2 PM, at the Bellevue, right at the entrance of the atrium. And it's, a collaboration of, us, Community Board 6, Bellevue and NYU. We should hopefully have the flyers soon, we finally got them finalized, so we just, yeah, so we'll have the digital version of it hopefully soon. And then
But doesn't
we can
it take
start
much time to
promoting. Yeah,
invite people
it's
to
been a lot of delays on certain fronts with, personnel changes.
Yeah, that was the big.
But
That personnel change is what really slowed things
So, but
down.
is there a way for CB6 to in our newsletter?
Yeah, so we have, yes, we finally got the, go ahead.
As soon as we have a final,
I will send you the final version. It got sent to me it got sent to us earlier today.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier today, we finally got the version, which I will forward to you.
yes, please do. We have a
Yeah.
blast tomorrow, so.
Oh, I will forward it to you tonight.
So yes, let's make sure
All right.
to get that in.
All right.
Because,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
will-
one of the that's one of the easiest, most surefire ways to spread the
Yeah.
word.
all right.
And then do people have to register to it or they just
No,
walk in?
they can just walk in.
And just
And it's in
asking
the
us that,
atrium, which
yeah.
is
Yeah,
nice.
which is why we
Makes it
kept it in the
area.
atrium, so nobody
Yeah.
has to
Terrific
register.
area.
Cause one of the other areas when we were looking at the location was more inside where people would have to show ID and sign in, so that's why we didn't wanna do
so
it
who
there.
do we
And more
have there
traffic.
to answer
Yeah, yeah.
people's healthcare questions? Like, I know we'll have a table as a community board,
Mhm.
but are there gonna be like a team of?
Oh, yeah, there's gonna be lots of stuff. There's gonna be nurses, there's gonna be cancer, there's gonna be a bunch of tables, yeah.
I'm just thinking so we can, because it's during the workday, so
Mhm.
we need to get traffic and during the workday, so
Yeah.
people are gonna have to take time out and come.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cause,
We
should have shared the tables with everybody,
yeah.
so they know who's gonna be there.
Yeah, so I can also send that to Brendan and he can send over the list of all the tables that are gonna be there as
Yeah,
well,
that'd
I
so.
wish we had announced it again at full board yesterday. Did we do it? Did you do it?
Yeah, I made an announcement at the full board yesterday.
Yep, I point to you because you made that announcement.
Yeah, all right, so that's that, and I just wanna. One last thing I wanna say is, I also wanna wish Marty happy birthday, hope you're enjoying your wonderful dinner. And then moving on to old and new business.
No, pointing to me. So we were talking about the merge with the Youth and Education Committee. And one of the things I feel strongly with, and we actually passed a resolution related to like helicopters and that all the issues that relate to the environmental impacts on our district. I feel very strongly that the environment is still a very, very big prospectus for this committee and should be included. So I'm bringing this up in terms of our name. Because I feel like it should be representative of all facets. And I also wanted to hear from the members of the Youth and Education, if there's like a more powerful name or word that we can come up, or is education enough, so I just wanted to have it a discussion at committee level, because I was thinking about it for the last couple of months, and then I just haven't said it.
So when you emailed me, I was like, oh my God, somebody else has been thinking about it too, because that was something that was also in the back of my mind. And so the name I had been kind of thinking about is just health, environment, and education. That kind of encompasses like all the big topics that we're gonna cover, but I was like, so, but then when Kat brought it up, I'm like, yes, I'm not the only one thinking about it.
But after the presentation of the members of SALT School yesterday, it also made me think, should it be emphasized of youth education versus like education is like a general? So I don't know, but that's why
Are we
I'm.
restricted to youth education? I did not know that.
Good question.
I thought it was
No.
all
I
education.
think it's just,
Oh,
so-
but youth and education are separate, so the youth can also include foster care, it can, like, all the myriad
Yeah.
things that happen to people under 18. So
Could it
it's
be-
more expansive than like just their
So it can be
education.
youth,
needs.
education, health, environment, other things too.
It's-
There's some other things in there.
It gets, like, for me, that's where it gets a little too busy.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
I think it should be
Yeah.
education.
Yay, why?
Like you said it.
Yay.
I like that.
Although she is right, there's aspects
Yay.
of youth that are getting ignored in that caption for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Why
That
we
can,
don't have all
that can also be included already in the
Yeah.
education.
Well, this is
So
where.
it can
Yeah, this is where, yeah, this is where we have to.
It can be health, education, and environmental.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think I wrote in that the number one health priority for CB6 is environment.
Yeah.
Concerns.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
This is-
I think I wrote that.
It was,
So-
yeah.
So, it is a subset of health.
Yeah,
I agree.
and for
Yeah.
me personally, I also think environment is an important thing, especially where we're headed these days with climate change and everything else. I feel like it is an important factor in our lives and just overall quality of life.
Yeah.
But environment.
I agree with you. I think that health does certainly conjure up images of environment. Environment is health.
Yeah.
So I think it is covered if you look at it that way.
Yeah. So then,
Agreed, it
everybody
needs to have more
okay with,
emphasis.
so then my next question is whether we do health, education and environment or health, environment and education. Does anybody have any strong feelings for one or the other?
Health and education always go together.
Okay,
So health and education, and you add the environment.
okay, health, education and
Because
environment.
they
We're the
always
key
go back.
committee.
When I
There you
started.
go, there's the
Yeah.
acronym.
HEE,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
health, yeah.
When I started this, it was health and education.
Right.
Mhm.
Then they changed, so
And they
2 years,
separated
I
it?
was a chair of health and education. Then it was changed to health and environmental, 2 years, I was a chair. Then it was switched again to health and education. Then it was changed to health and environment.
Yeah.
And remember that it was Parks and Cultural Affairs when I
Yeah.
first started as chair of that committee, and then it
Last
got
line
switched
hurts.
to Health, I'm sorry, to Parks and Environment.
Yeah.
Parks and
Yeah.
landmarks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then
Environment
it's
and Parks without landmarks in there. now
Yeah,
it's
and
back.
now it's part, landmarks is back in the
Cultural
name,
affairs
yeah.
is part of
yeah.
landmarks.
So you're
So
saying
do we
whatever
have
we
to-
change it to, it's probably gonna get changed again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna change that.
Right.
But-
Well, I think it's worth it.
So-
With he.
All right, so we're going with key, health, education and environment. All right. So that name change has to go through the exec committee, so I will email Sandy and get that started. Other than that, any other old or new business, Brendan? Oh,
Yes.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just-
someone from the district attorney's office who wanted to talk about some, I wanted to say education related services, just for a minute or two.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I just wanted to briefly introduce myself. My name is Max, and I'm the new Youth and Education Coordinator for the District Attorney's Office. So I'll be your point person for any programs or presentations that the office can offer, or any questions you have related to that. So I will leave my contact information in the chat, and I look forward to working with you all. And thank you for your time tonight.
Nice to meet you, Max.
thank you, Max. And, yeah, thank you very much for coming over and, introducing yourself. And, in the next month or two, can you send the Brendan or the office some information about just what programs are available? So maybe we can look through it And then if we decide, we can always have you come back for our presentation and ask more about it. So if you can just send us some info about opportunities, that would be great.
Absolutely. And my supervisor Amani is on here as well. So we'll be in contact as well. But I will send that over. And yes, like I said, looking forward to working with you all.
All right, thank you, man.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to meet you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Kevin.
Just because I thought it was so interesting environment, there were a dozen dolphins in the East River.
Saw the video.
And for those that don't know, they said the East River is actually the cleanest it's been since the Civil War, so we do have that positive note.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful seeing. They were close to Randall's Island, but people did see them, out.
So the fins and
In
the.
the other wider area than
Yeah.
that, but that's where you saw most of the action, the jumping.
Yeah. Oh.
Small beak,
That's pretty cool.
common dolphin was the type. Is it great? Yeah, you saw, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the videos also. I was like, oh, yeah, loved it. Yeah. All right, if there is nothing else, I think, motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much.
All right, meeting is adjourned at 7:36 PM.
Good job.
Thank you.